Hey guys, welcome back to another inZOI video, and today we are deep diving into the in-game systems of inZOI. I'm going to be breaking down how daily life works from your ZOI's needs, traits, values, skills. We're also going to be looking at careers and school, university, everything from how the city works to all of the social aspects within it, so there is a lot to cover in today's video, and I think it will give you a really good overview of how life in inZOI actually works. Also, I want to say a huge thank you to Crafton for sponsoring this video. But before we get started, I want to tell you all a little bit about my creator code, which actually gets inputted into the game after you've already purchased it. Under game settings, scroll down to creator code and input the code Emma. It will really support me as a creator, but there are also some fun in-game rewards. And if you do end up using it, please let me know so I can say a big thank you. All right, now without further ado, let's jump in and check out the in-game systems of inZOI. Okay, I'm gonna start by introducing you to two of the ZOIs we're playing with at the moment. This is emmanicole and her husband, Matt Walker, and basically they're pregnant, they're expecting a baby. They've also moved into a new apartment, so there's a lot going on at the moment, so they're just gonna have a little catch up and check in on each other. If you click on a ZOI, it opens up the social menu. You have lots of different social interactions to pick from. We're gonna ask a couple of pregnancy related questions, share pregnancy woes, share changes caused by hormones, just so that Matt can get an understanding of what we're going through. If you hover down to the bottom, you can see the journey of our emotions, all those different colors. They basically represent all of the different moods that we're experiencing, such as Emma feeling curious, caused by the world within me from being pregnant. And that's triggered by the conversation that she's having with Matt right now. If we then move over to Matt, either by clicking on his face or pressing the space bar, we can see that he is actually feeling worried. Triggered by that very same conversation, he's feeling worried because he wants to help. If you read at the bottom, it says that he wants to do anything he can to lift them up, which is really sweet that he's feeling that way. Now let's explore a little bit more of the information you can see down below. So directly above that moods bar, you have your needs. If you click on that little arrow, you open up all of the different needs from hunger, hygiene, sleep, bathroom, fun, social recognition, and energy. And your goal is to keep all of those needs all the way full or as close to it as you can. You don't really want to test the boundaries of what could happen if those needs get too low. Like hunger, we don't take any risks. Matt's bathroom bar is a little low, so actually just by clicking on that toilet paper icon, it will automatically send him on a mission to fill that need. So here you can see he's doing his business and the needs bar gets topped up. And that should last us a good couple hours before we need to repeat it. Now next to those needs, you'll see a little toggle which you can switch on and off. That's basically turning on and off autonomy. Autonomy is where a ZOI will go about their daily life without your control. So if your ZOI needs the toilet, if autonomy is turned on, your ZOI will just go to the toilet. We're gonna let Matt do his own thing so we can play with Emma, so we'll just leave autonomy turned on. Now back to Emma, I think I'm just gonna keep her in the apartment for the next couple hours and maybe do a little bit of cleaning. Now cleaning is something that you definitely will need to stay on top of in your daily life within inZOI. You might need to purchase a vacuum or a mop from build mode and clean the surrounding area, and you'll notice this little shimmery effect, and you'll notice your objects from floors and furniture will actually go clean. Well, to be honest, that didn't quite go to plan because now Emma is feeling lethargic. Her mood bar has changed. A couple hours of cleaning has really exhausted her. So you kind of always want to be on the lookout to what your ZOI is feeling, what their mood is, and how you can kind of balance that out. While Emma's having a bit of a doze, we are playing back with Matt, who's going to do a bit of cooking. Now clicking on that stove, it opens up this menu where you can pick which dish you want to cook, but you're limited by the level of skill of cooking. So Matt only has a level 1 skill, so we're very limited on what he can make. In order to increase that skill, you need to do more cooking, and the more and more cooking you do, the more and more dishes that you unlock. So we've made it through the evening. It is dinner time now, and the two of them are going to sit down for a nice little meal and basically just catch up on the day. So our two ZOIs have finished dinner, and now I want to tell you about the ZOI card found in the bottom right corner. This is all of the information about your ZOIs within your household, and you can easily switch between the two by those little faces above. Starting with ambitions, this is basically something that you get to pick for your ZOI about what kind of goal they want in life, greater goal. Do they want to pursue love? Do they want to pursue knowledge and learning or community contribution? Have a read through about what the different goals per level are and see what kind of best fits your storyline. Similarly, on the opposite side, you have something called desired life, which is a lot more kind of what's your greater purpose? What kind of lifestyle do you want your ZOI to have? A life of self-discovery, wisdom, adventure, creativity. This is something you might have already selected in Create a ZOI, but you can also select it here and have a read through because it will tell you what traits, values, and ambitions that it aligns with. In that ZOI card, you also have the option to change your ZOI's preferences. So maybe they like specific foods, or maybe they don't like specific foods. 1 click to heart an item and 2 clicks to dislike it. And finally, we have traits, and these again are something you have picked picked in Create a ZOI, this is what really will define the personality of your ZOI, whether they're someone who's extroverted or introverted, whether they value something really academic or maybe they're more creative. Now, a culmination of the ambition, the desired life, and the traits that you have picked for your ZOI will result in the values that your ZOI has. If we have a look at what Matt values, he's really valuing love, and second to that is challenger and accomplishment. He's a family guy. He really values his partner, but he also really takes pride in his family and his accomplishments. Now, moving over to Emma's values, I think it's really interesting to compare them side by side. Her number one value is safety, which makes perfect sense as she's pregnant and she's kind of nesting and she's constantly scanning her environment, and her number one value is safety. Now, the values that your ZOI has will directly impact the kind of gameplay and interactions that you have available to you. For example, Matt now sitting on the computer under value-based actions. Because of his accomplishment value, he can develop personal skills and he can research for a writing book. By the way, also on the computer, there are skill action interactions. So if you want to increase skills in media production, you can also check out humor websites, study for certification, lots of skill things. Speaking of skills, we know that Emma is a very creative person, and I think I want to get her an easel. So jumping into build mode, we're just placing down an easel in the office. And we'll get started with Emma painting a picture, but she only has a level 0 art, so she doesn't have many options at first, but let's kind of monitor and watch how she increases that skill. All right, it is Thursday morning. Matt is up bright and early, and I'm going to show you all about the careers in inZOI. So opening up your smartphone or just press P on your keyboard, you can access a bunch of different information from the smartphone, but we're going to open up the careers app. At the top, you'll see part-time and full-time jobs. There's a lot of fun options in both categories, and inZOI has a goal to make all careers active and super fun and immersive. So have a read through the different descriptions, the locations, and see what kind of career feels the most appealing to your ZOI. But I think for Matt, we're going to apply for him to be a cashier at the furniture store. Once you apply and get accepted, you'll get a little text through to your smartphone congratulating you on being the new employee. And if you open up your schedule, you'll be able to see the time slots when you're expected to be at work. Now, he actually doesn't start till tomorrow, so I think this is a good opportunity for us to kind of explore the greater map, and I'll show you a little bit about the city. So by pressing M on your keyboard, you'll open up the map, and this is Bliss Bay, one of the beautiful maps in inZOI. Now, all those different icons represent different destinations on the map. You have community lots from galleries, libraries, amusement parks, to other apartments and residential lots. Now, because Matt values accomplishments, I've taken him on the bus to the library, and he's just gonna read a couple books this afternoon. Now, moving over to Emma, she's actually just woken up, and I think I'm gonna take her out of the apartment today. So we're actually gonna drive to the beach. Now, Emma and Matt did purchase a car, which you can do through the smartphone. The car will always wait for them outside of their apartment, and anywhere that you click on the map, drive here, your ZOI will get in their car. You can drive the car manually, but I just find driving it automatically a lot faster. She's actually met one of her friends, Cassandra, here, and the two of them are just hanging out and chatting about the pregnancy and how that's going. I actually have an entire video on how the relationship system works within inZOI, how it works with friends, colleagues, family, romance. I will leave that video linked down below, and that is a full deep dive into the relationship systems. Now, fast forward a little bit of time, Emma's making new friends, and she's met this girl in the playground, and I want to show you something called trends within inZOI, which is a really interesting concept about how information travels really fast amongst the community. So one of the options that Emma's getting is to show off her new outfit, because we did make the shirt. It's a custom shirt. There's this really cute little interaction where she'll kind of show off her fashion sense, and the ZOI in front of you might react positively, but they also might react negatively. Now, I've quickly jumped ahead just to show you the consequences of rumors and trends. So it's a couple days later, and Emma's received a text from Bubbling, which is all about rumors that kind of circulate. And the hot rumor today is that she was showing off her fashion sense. So it's actually really cool to see that the decisions that you make for your ZOI will have an impact within the community. But things like infidelity or bad behavior, if you suddenly decide to slap a stranger, those kinds of things will find themselves on Bubbly. So I think the lesson in this is always be careful, because you never know who is watching. Another facet of this rumors and trend system within inZOI, things like illnesses. So your ZOI can actually get sick. You might see a little cough cough text above them, and these also spread in the same way rumors spread, but it is contagious. So if your ZOI is sick within a family, it will often spread to other members of the family. Okay, it is later that evening, and Emma is back at her easel, and she's actually just leveled up to level 1 of her art skill. The painting is definitely coming along. I think it's looking pretty good actually. But now she's finished her artwork. So if we hover over it, you can get a little bit of information about what it's called, but also the price and the value of it. If you click on the item, you can get the option to appreciate or analyze it or sell it on pMarket, which is another app that you can find on your smartphone. Now consider pMarket like any other buying, selling app. So if you open that up, you'll have the shopping tab where you can buy food, ingredients, drinks, and all of that will get delivered straight to your house or apartment. But I want to tell you about the sell tab because that is where you can actually sell objects that you have crafted. So we're gonna list our rabbit in the grass painting. Now we only get 58 meow from that, which is not great, but this was our first painting and we did have basically a level 0 art skill. So that price will increase with every new piece of artwork that we create. The higher the skill, the higher the value. Now actually staying on that same subject, Emma's had quite a day and not really been able to keep on top of her cleaning. As you can see, the background's kind of dirty and dusty. She also may have broken the washing machine earlier, so this is a perfect opportunity to open up that pMarket app again, go into the services tab, and this is where you can actually hire cleaners, repair people, and babysitters. Also on the smartphone, you'll find information on your utility bills because it costs to have an apartment in Bliss Bay. Every couple days, you'll receive texts about your bills, and you'll actually need to go and actively pay that, or you risk repercussions such as your electricity being switched off or object repossession. So you definitely do not want to risk that and make sure you're paying your bills on time. Now, actually, I think that was Matt just running to work because he might have overslept and he is running late this morning. So Matt is now running to work at the furniture shop. Okay, it's 10 a.m. He finally made it to work. And now in the top left, you'll see all of the different tasks that he's expected to do every day at work. Underneath the tasks, there's also a timer with the time left that you'll need to complete those tasks by. And of course, if you perform well at work, you might get a promotion. So make sure you're completing your tasks. Now, the jobs and careers that you pick for your ZOIs will all look very different. So for example, the activities that Matt is doing at the furniture store are very different to the activities Emma is now doing because she has a part-time job at Golden Apple Burger. Her jobs include things like cleaning tables, cleaning dishes, talking to customers, seeing if they like the food. So the different careers will look very different. One of my favorite parts about inZOI though is that you can constantly flip and switch between all of the different ZOIs in your household. So we could have Emma who's working, we also have Matt who's working, and just by pressing the space bar or clicking on their faces, you can easily switch between all your household members. Now you might notice we have a new addition to the family. This is Drew, he's our son. We fast forwarded a little bit of time, so he's aged up from a baby to now a child. And part of that is he is now enrolled in school. So whilst the two parents are working, we can take Drew to school, and it's actually a rabbit hole experience, but you can take them to school. You can explore the surrounding area. There's a playground. There's usually lots of kids running around and interacting, so you can make friends outside. But what you can do is select the individual activities that you want your ZOI to do whilst at school. This works the same, by the way, for elementary school, high school, university. So you have a couple of different options depending on whether you want them to have more of an accomplishment boost or a social development skill boost or a friendship relationship boost. Lots of fun different options, and you can kind of pick which one feels more relevant to your ZOI. Also, throughout your time at school, you'll get different pop-up scenarios. So things happen at school related to teachers, friends, exams, and you'll have usually 2 choices to pick from, and then you'll see what the consequences of those are. Through this menu, you can find out more about how your kids are progressing at school, so their academic level, what their attendance has been like, and what their absences have been like. Finally, let's talk a little bit about your city controls, your manage city, and how it can actually change the outcome of your game and the game's progression. So opening up that map, along the top, you can head to manage city, and you'll open something called the control city status. And this basically allows you control the rate at which things happen in your city. There's a lot of things to adjust here, but just a couple of examples is the rate at which friendships are progressed or romantic relationships. Do you want them to progress faster or slower? City safety. Do you want your city to be safer or not as safe? Maybe more crime. Something else that you can take a look at under your city controls is actually the weather. So this is under city appearance, and weather is one of the options. The weather you can have in inZOI is sunny, cloudy, rainy, snowy, and for rainy and snowy, you can go all the way from level 1 to level 3 if you want to have a bit more intense. Now, just to keep in mind that these are temporary states of weather, so it usually is about an hour hour in game of temporary weather change, and then it will go back to the default weather. There will be some effects though visually to the clothes that your Zoi is wearing. Maybe they'll want to change into their raincoat. Other Zois around you will have umbrellas, for example. But there are 4 seasons in inZOI with different weather within each. And you might also get text messages from the city hall with different extreme weather conditions that you'll need to keep in mind. There's lots of other fun adjustments that you can make within your city controls, city appearance, for example. So have a look through the menu, play around with it, and make your inZOI city super unique. We're on to our final in-game system within inZOI that I want to tell you all about, and that is the karma system. Basically, karma is something that really kind of navigates the experience of your Zoi, because the goal is to maintain perfect harmony within your city, and every Zoi, whether it's the Zoi you're playing with or other Zois on the street, will have a karma meter. This will start around neutral, but it can go all the way down to terrible and all the way up to very good. And different activities that you do will directly impact that karma meter. These can be things like leaving complimentary posts on Bubbly, which is the social media app, sending thank you messages, signing an online petition. You can also do things on the computer like donating to charity or wishing for colleagues' promotion. Now those are the positive ones, but of course there's a whole bunch of negative ones, and actually I've done a whole video on what happens if you're the worst person in inZOI. I will leave that video linked down below, but it tells you all about what happens when you have a bad karma score. So basically you want to be a good person in inZOI and you want to keep your karma score as high as possible, and your city controls will actually allow you to have an overview of what the other Zois in your city are doing. If they have a low karma score, you can actually scold them and perform an intervention that will actually give them the option to do things like do charity work, which will compensate for their low karma score. And just every so often you might want to refer to your city's karma score just to see how your residents are getting on. And you know what? I think that is it. I think that covers pretty much most of the in-game systems within inZOI. I had so much fun deep diving into everything, and I actually learned so much as well doing this research. Thank you so much again to Crafton for sponsoring this video, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye!